Hello, good morning. Today our guest is Dr. Gustav Tinghog, and he's from Sweden, so forgive my word pronunciation. So how are you doing, Gustav?
Good morning. Sorry, I didn't hear you.
How are you doing?
I am doing very well, thank you. How are you doing?
I'm great. Gustav, so you're from Sweden, but did you live in America for a while?
During my time as a PhD student, I lived in Boston for a while. Yes.
Yes, you have an American accent.
Yeah, a little bit. Yes,
Yeah, yes.
I try to get rid of it, but I have it anyway. Yeah.
Yes, you do. So today we're going to be talking about gender gaps in financial literacy, and we will be making reference to your paper titled Gender Differences in Financial Literacy, the Role of Stereotype Threat. Gustav, what is financial literacy?
I would say that it is the basic understanding of how money matters and the ability to understand and apply basic financial concept in your personal finance. Basic concepts would be interest, compound interest, risk diversification, and effectively understand what those concepts are and how to use them in your personal finance.
Interesting explanation, Gustav, because in the public space, when people are talking about financial literacy, they usually discuss investing and saving. Now, risk and compound interest are important, but on a personal level, when you say that one is financially literate, we're talking about the ability to plan and time preference. So, for example, should you buy a car? When is it necessary to buy a car? Because a car is really a conspicuous good. And furthermore, if you are a professional who travels frequently, should you buy a house or should you rent a house? So on a micro level, these are the issues we usually discuss when we talk about financial literacy. But your definition is accurate. But on a micro level, when people talk about financial literacy, they're not really referring to investment and compound interest.
No, but financial literacy, as I view it, is the ability to use this knowledge effectively when for example, buying a house or renting a house or buying a car, to understand how to navigate the financial landscape in order to make economic decisions that are good in a like lifetime perspective.
And Gustav, why should we be financially literate in the first place? Why is that important?
Well, why should we be financial literate? We would be because it helps us to navigate our day-to-day financial decisions, and it makes us become this is like a fundamental question. It's easy, so it's important for us to have the basic knowledge in order to navigate all the questions about finance that we face in everyday life, and for in a lifetime perspective, for us not to go broke, and for us to make a budget, for us to buy a house that is not too expensive, that we can afford, and so on.
Gustav, I was looking forward to you making that point, not to go broke. That's why we should be financially literate.
Yeah.
You don't want to be 80 or 60 and be financially insecure.
No, and you want to have made savings that last for old age, and you don't want to be over-debted, etc.
Gustav, would you say that you are financially literate?
Oh, that's a yes. I would say that I am financial literate. Yes.
Yeah, I would also say that about myself. I'm really big on saving and long-term planning. I'm not a spontaneous person when it comes to money.
Well, I am a quite spontaneous person. I'm when it comes to money. I don't spend too much thinking about it, but I guess that's because I have I have enough money to get around. But I do understand the basic concepts of interest rate and compound interest and how to think about that and how to not make decisions that I can't afford. But that doesn't mean that all the decisions I make are with regards to my personal finance are clever or in my best interest. I buy stuff I don't need and etc. I have like self-control problems and that's a totally different thing. Yeah, but I'm financial literate. I can understand the basic concepts
So
that I need
Gustav,
to know. Yep.
Gustav, so you're telling us that you're rich.
Well, I'm not rich. Well, I'm rich. It depends on who you compare with, of course. But compared to most people in the world, I have a house, I have a car. I don't worry about having money for buying food and so I don't worry much about um, having money. But of course, I can't buy anything I want. But I don't have. I buy. I have enough money to buy what I need.
So Gustav, how did you achieve this level of financial security?
Yeah, how did I do that? I think I was fortunate to be born in a family that was provided me with like I was born in a country like Sweden, and that I'm very fortunate to be done. So I had all the opportunities to grow up. I had the education to grow up and have a nice life. So I was provided with all the opportunities to be wealthy, I would say, and most of that I think is also because of luck. So I'm very grateful that I've had so far a very nice life and not having to worry about financial issues.
So Gustav, you just told us that you're financially literate. But is there a difference between being financially literate and practicing financial literacy? Someone can be educated, but does this automatically mean that said person is also financially literate in the sense that he or she is practicing financial literacy?
So to take that question again, so what's the difference between being financially literate and practicing financial
Yeah, because
literacy?
some people are financially literate. They understand money and how it works, but they're not wealthy. They don't save, they don't invest.
Yeah. And we actually have me and my colleagues Kinga Barafrem and Daniel Wester have been working with another concept which we call financial homo-ignorance, which is that many people, including myself, are pretty ignorant about the information. We totally understand the information, but we don't care. So the one thing would be that we talked. Many of you probably know the Ostrich Effect, that we only look at our savings when it goes up, but we stay away from looking at our personal finance when the market is plummeting, for example, yeah, and sometimes we don't look at our bills because it makes us feel bad. But that doesn't mean we still understand the basic concepts that it's not good not to pay your bills on time, because that will that will be costly in the long run. We understand that, but we still do it.
The best way to measure financial literacy is to assess how people react to a windfall. So when you get a windfall, you can either save it or invest it or spend it.
Mm-hmm.
And I interviewed an economist who said, on average, people usually spend their inheritance. So if you want to know if individuals are financially literate, measure their response to windfall. So if you get $1 million now, what are you going to do with it?
Mm-hmm.
That's how you should measure financial literacy. Because people see that they're financially literate, but when they get money, that's a different ball game.
Mm. Yeah, I'm not sure I would agree with that, honestly. Um, I mean, you can be financial literate and still make stupid financial decisions. I think those are two very different things. If I would get it depends on how you define windfall money, of course. But if I would get lottery and win 1 million krona, I'm not sure I would save that. I will probably buy something stupid. That doesn't mean that I'm financially literate, but I might be happy, right? I don't think everything in life is about making as much money as you can, or
All
making.
right. But you see, Gustav, you're in a position where you can afford some level of luxury. So
Yeah, sure.
yes, you can afford some level of luxury. So I'm younger than you. People in my age group were thinking about buying a house, starting a family, starting a business. So the average serious person in my age group who's financially literate will be disinclined to just spending $1 million on a luxury product. But you're in a different space, Gustav.
Sure, sure, but many people who are not in a like who doesn't have a lot of money but still understand the basic financial have the basic financial skills also spend money on things that perhaps was not the most wise thing, I would say.
But spending is not always a negative indication of financial literacy.
No.
Because if you want a quality product, you should spend money. If you want products that will be durable, you're going to spend money. Don't be penny wise and pound foolish.
Yeah. I'm just saying that I have I'm talking from anecdotal friends and stuff. I have many friends that are very smart and understand, are fully aware of what interest rate and compound interest is, but they still take loans, SMS loans and stuff, and make decisions that are not wise from a financial well-being perspective.
Well, I agree, but it depends on the type of loan, because some writers have linked risk tolerance to financial literacy. So if you want to start a business, at some point you might have to take out a loan. So again, it depends on the type of loan. The loan might not be in the best interest of the entrepreneur, but we're not against taking loans.
No. But yeah, I think we
like yesterday I was reading an article. I just saw it run by chance about the American writer and producer Tyler Perry talking about his finances. I know he spent money to produce a play and it failed and he ended up homeless. That's a part of success, to take risk. So
yeah,
if he had he not taken those risks, he would not be Tyler Perry today.
absolutely, I agree. So you need to risk taking is also, just because you take risk doesn't mean you're financially
No, not at all.
no.
But
So
risk
yeah,
taking is usually positive, more positive than negative. Even this show is a risk.
yeah,
You could have said no, you said yes. I could have said some time ago that I wasn't going to start it, but I did. Life is a risk. If you're failed to live, that doesn't make any sense.
no, yeah, sure.
Now,
And
Gustav,
and a lot of outcomes are the results of luck and consequences that we don't have much influence of, I would say.
Gustav, I like your anecdotal examples. You seem to know a lot of people. Based on your research and life experience, would you say that richer people are happier?
Well, there's a bunch of research that on this that I don't want to talk about it because I don't know it that well.
Okay, but your experience, I want to hear your experience more. Based on,
okay.
are richer people happier?
No, that of course. No, I wouldn't say that. At least, no, I'm talking very personal experiences.
Yeah.
I think there's of course having basic fun, the basic resources to have to be being able not to worry about having food and how roof over your head, clothes, etc. That is of course something that goes into your financial well-being. But making a lot of money doesn't make you more happy. No.
According to some studies, richer people are happier than poor people in some countries, and richer countries have a higher level of subjective well-being. But the most impressive study that I've read notes that money enables people to buy better experiences. So I think that they're happy because of the experiences and the relationships that money build, not necessarily because of the money.
Yeah. That might very well be true. Yes. But I think having the relations and family and the surrounding and a work that you enjoy is much more important for your well-being. And you don't need to have a lot of money in order to have that.
And again, another personal question. In your estimation, who are the happiest people you know? Young people, old people, children?
You ask me difficult questions.
In your estimation, this is not a research question.
No, it's not a real. Okay. It seems like you worry less when you get older, right?
Yes.
Would be my and especially you worry less about stupid things the older you get. So, but of course, then your health deteriorates when you get older. So that makes you. That's another type of worry that you get when you get older. But it seems like you get happier when you get older. But it also seems like there's a kind of U shape, and that you're quite happy when you're young, but then around 30, 40. When you have all the age of 30, 40, then you have all the obligation on family and there's a lot of doing a career and then a lot of stress, which declines as you get older.
Rupi, what do you say?
Which improves your health, which improves your well-being. That would be my there's probably lots of research on this that probably says a different thing, but this would be my personal guess.
Gustav, repeat what you said about 30 and 40 again. What happened when we're 30 or 40? Are we happier?
So we have a lot of obligations, right? We tend to have a family. We tend to want to make a career. We tend to be grown-ups, at least and we have a lot of responsibilities that we need to take care of, and that can be a burden for our. And so some we might feel like we haven't achieved what we want to achieve or something like that, which could be a problem. But then being like a young adult is also being worried about the future and so on. It can also affect.
So are we happier at 30 or 40 or less?
My guess is that there is a little bit of a U-shaped curve here.
Okay, okay.
That we are a bit less happy in our middle-aged, and we are more happy in when we're young and when we're older. But I could be proven wrong by a simple Google prompt.
Yes. So, Gustav, gender differences in financial literacy. Are men more financially literate than women?
In all of our studies that we've conducted quite a few at our lab in Linköping University, Jedi Lab. We see that men score better than females on like standard test of financial literacy. Yes, it's not a huge effect though, but it's like, yeah, well, it's a substantive effect, gender gap, and this also seems to be for other studies doing financial literacy, they consistently see a difference between genders where male do better than females.
Yes, and I have been reading some articles, American articles, studying financial literacy and the retirement gap. And you're right, there's also a retirement gap. Men seem to save more for retirement than women and are also more prepared.
Yeah. And this gender gap seems to be prevalent both in advanced economies and more emerging economies. So it seems to be quite stable across, yeah, different cultures and different countries with different institutional setups, etc. There are of course some exceptions in countries and studies showing that. But in general, there seems to be quite a lot of evidence that there is this gender effect in financial literacy, and we see it in all of our studies.
Yes,
but we focus mostly on American samples and Swedish samples and European samples. So we haven't done much on emerging economies. We haven't done any studies on that. But there are others who have shown that.
and is this because men are more invested in money? Studies also show that men place a premium on status, and male investors care more about making money rather than achieving social objectives.
Also, so tricky question. For once, we see that this gender gap between males and females, it persists also when we control for things like numeric ability, for example, and also confidence level, right? So yeah, but it could of course be that males are much more. No, what was the question again? Sorry.
Is it driven by social status? So men do care more about money. That's one of the reasons for investing. Men want to make money. Women invest because they want to achieve social goals. This is what some studies show. So are men oriented to become financially literate because of the premium on money?
Could be so. We have investigated this thing called the stereotype threat, which has been questioned in the social psychology literature, that females feel more intimidated by finance in general, and tend to be confirm this negative stereotypical belief that females are not as good on financial matters compared to men, and that this could be contributing to the gender effect. So we've found some evidence for that there is this indirect effect of gender on financial literacy, that goes through financial anxiety, that females are more feel more anxiety towards financial issues or financial. They get more unsure about the lingo used in finance and so on, and that contributes to this gender gap.
The stereotype threat, that's quite controversial. Some studies are skeptical of that argument, and I'm wondering, about the practicality of disentangling the stereotype threat from confidence, because some people often attribute the financial gap to lower confidence, but you're saying that it is due to the stereotype threat. So how do we separate them?
It's true that they are they are highly related. I can just tell you about how we have done this in our studies. We have conducted, because one thing that we've seen also consistently across studies is that females tend to pick the do not know option on the financial literacy questions. So you can answer, yeah, they're multiple choice, but they're usually also one choice option, which is do not know, and females tend to pick that more often rather than just guessing, which would indicate that they have a lower confidence level than males. So what we did in one of our studies was that we deleted the do not know option, and to see if that would actually delete or decrease the gender gap between males and females, but it didn't have any effect, which indicate that the confidence level wouldn't play a huge difference for this gender gap. But then we also did a mediation analysis where we measured financial anxiety, and we saw that the more anxiety you had on the less financial literate you were, and this was an indirect effect through gender. Yeah.
But
sorry if that was clear. Yeah.
Yeah, it's quite clear. I do not know. So if you're doing an exam or answering a question, personally, I like to think and analyze. But if you don't know, that's not really a judgment of your intellect, because I'm sure you're familiar with what they call the Dunning-Kruger effect. People who are stupid always know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, stupid people always know. There's never a point when they don't know. So if women put I don't know, that could indicate something else other than a lack of confidence.
Yeah, sure. You're right.
That's why it is said that the Economist magazine said that female investors, their funds have a higher rate of return, and this could be attributed to their level of risk tolerance, because they have a lower tendency to engage in risky behavior. They take risks that are not as crazy. So although the richest investors are men, the bigger the risk, the higher the reward. On average, female firms do better. And another reason could be because they're smaller firms. But again, I think the risk tolerance argument is more compelling. If you're not risk tolerant, if you don't have a higher tolerance for risk, you're going to take more strategic risks. So you're less to go off on a crazy hunch.
Yeah, sure.
So yeah, so I think that the debate is quite nuanced. I'm not one to change people's personalities or identities. There are several gender gaps. One in financial literacy, I don't think that is particularly a big deal based on the studies that I have just discussed. However, it's been pushed by businesses, because if women invest, funds will make more money. If female are investing, their funds will have more money to not more money to access, but more money to lend, etc., and people will have more money to access. So financial literacy for women is linked to economics. I don't think that when business people talk about financial literacy, that they're really interested in empowering women per se. That's a part of the language, because if you want people to buy a product, i.e. to invest, you have to empower them. But I think the bigger issue is women in business, and women in business can make us better off.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, so whenever I see these topics on financial literacy, I say good business. If I'm in business, I'm going to talk about the gender gap because I want women to invest. If women invest in my fund will do well. There will be more funds available for investment and more money for other investors to access. So I think it's smart economics for women to participate in the economy.
Yeah, sure. That sounds reasonable. Yeah, sure.
Yes, but
Um,
well, go ahead if
so,
you're going
so,
to
so
speak.
yeah, I just want to add one thing, and that is that, um, according to our studies, at least, it seems that confidence in financial matters much more than actual financial knowledge when it comes to financial well-being. So believing that you are actually very financial literate has a much bigger effect than actual financial literacy in how in your subjective financial well-being. And I think that's important. So it's much better to be overconfident than to be underconfident. So it's better to believe that you're financial literate than to have high financial literacy, but believe that you don't have it.
Well, back to this is the last point that I'm going to make. So some time ago, an organization did a study. It was on Jamaica, and that study did not find a substantial gap in financial literacy between men and women. And the a writer said that it was unusual. I'm not surprised because gaps have been found in several countries, but in Jamaica, it's a bit different. The women tend to be aggressive, or some would say somewhat masculinized, and the standard of education is lower. So I wasn't really expecting a gap. Men don't tend to do as well professionally, and the social traits of the female population are a bit different. So I wasn't expecting a gap, but there is a gap based on levels of achievement. Again, the most prominent people in finance are men. That was expected, but on in the middle of the average level, there was a greater level of equality. Not surprised. But Gustav, speaking to you has been a pleasure. But these days I do shorter interviews. We have been speaking for over 30 minutes. So I'm going to wrap up. And again, great speaking to you, Gustav. And our listeners, we love you, and we're going to become as rich someday.
Yeah.
Yes. All right, Gustav.
I'm not. Well, thank you for talking to me. I hope something I said made sense. Otherwise, yeah, yeah. Thank you.
All right, Gustav. Bye.
Bye.